Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday to you all, and thank you for joining us once again at the Core Knowledge Education Workshop.
Right.
Leslie here,
Hey.
and Lori.
Okay.
And today, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we're so excited about the different types of literature, especially the one that you're going to be introduced to today, such as which one?
We're going to talk about fables.
Yeah.
Aesop's fables.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all heard of Aesop's fables from the
Right.
time we were little, and we've all read Aesop's fables. And there's a reason why we learned Aesop's fables at such an early age, because it lays what we call the cultural literacy. It lays the foundation for not just reading, but it also lays the foundation as to what's right and wrong in our culture.
Right.
Because fables teach moral lessons.
Right.
And what Aesop did, he was a Greek slave in antiquity, and what he did was, instead of talking about people, because as people we don't like to hear when we do right and wrong, so what he did, he used animals as metaphors.
Right.
And his fables teach us lessons as to what is right and what is wrong,
Right.
and what's acceptable and what is not acceptable in our culture.
And you've noticed too that the fables have become a part of our cultural landscape. We refer to them indirectly. We make note of them all the time, and we hear them in various settings. You may hear them during a sports show. You may hear them during a political broadcast. You may hear them on a commercial, for example. So they're referenced throughout our culture in a variety of ways.
Yes, they are.
So it's so important that the foundation is laid early on. So there are many fables attributed to Aesop, and one of the most famous is The Boy Who Cried Wolf.
Yes, he did.
Okay, and so we're just going to talk about a few today and the moral lessons that they impart. And we know that the little boy told everybody that a wolf was coming for the sheep. And then he did it twice. And in fairy tales and fables, things usually happen in threes.
In threes.
You know, the power of the three. So by the time he got around to the third time, the wolf was actually there. So when he went to the villagers and told them that the wolf is coming,
he's killing my sheep.
Nobody believed him.
They're like,
Nobody believed him. So there's a lesson there. There's a moral there in that once one tells lies, when one starts telling the truth,
no one believes
nobody believes you. Now there are other fables besides the Boy Who Cried Wolf, and that's one of the more famous ones. There's also the ant and the grasshopper. You know,
the fox and the grapes.
That's right. There's the lion and the mouse. And each of them imparts a lesson. For the lion and the mouse, there's been no friends too big or too small. And the fox and the grape. You've heard that expression, sour grapes.
Sour grapes.
It comes from the fable, The Fox and the Grapes. Because the fox wanted to get some grapes to eat, but they were a little bit out of his reach. So he tried 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and then he couldn't get the grapes. They were too high in the tree. So he walks away saying, they were sour anyway.
I didn't want them anyway.
No, they weren't. They weren't sour. They're still sweet. He just couldn't get them. So now he tried to change what they were. You know, so we get all these nice big lessons from little tiny fables. So in kindergarten, that foundation is going to be laid with fables, for example. And each one imparts a lesson. And besides the reading, it also teaches an important cultural lesson as to how we conduct ourselves within a broader society. Also, too, and Lori and I were just talking beforehand about the child's reading reservoir. As that reservoir starts to grow, the extension lessons that you impart will become much more fruitful, and you'll be so pleased with how your child is making connections. So, for example, you might start comparing a fable and a nursery rhyme, a fairy tale and a fable or a story, and your child's making connections between maybe the ant and the grasshopper and Little Red Hen.
Little Red Hen is good, exactly.
For example, and you know, making connection. You might just lead into a question. Just say, well, what does that remind me of? You know, I wonder what does that remind you of the Little Red Hen? How so? And what you're doing is using complex questioning strategies in a natural kind of conversational manner, and your child is just knocking out of the ballpark.
They're honing their analytical skills.
They are good. Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. And these are the type of questions that are asked at higher levels throughout.
On the SATs.
Yes. Yes, the SATs, the ACT, the FSA, all
Any
of those
standardized tests.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Right.
all stems from kindergarten.
Right.
Preschool and kindergarten.
Right, right. So, but what we like to see happen is that this becomes an automatic internalized strategy. So as your child is reading, as his reading reservoir grows, guess what's happening? This internal conversation is taking place. It's taking place as he reads, as she reads. So by the time these big high-stake tests roll around, it's not going to be a problem. Your child's reading reservoir is broad and deep.
And it's just a natural progression.
Yep. And he or she has the internalized strategies already ready to go because they're reading like that. As they read, they're asking questions. They're making connections. They're looking at patterns. They're familiar with a lot of words because they have these words in their reservoir, so on and so forth. So it's just awesome. It's just awesome. We just love it. We just love it. So we're looking at, for example, fables. And besides fables, in kindergarten, by the time your child is finished with the kindergarten year, just a listing. Lori and I are just going to go through a listing of what your child should be familiar with, what your child should have read by kindergarten. So we're just going to go through the list, and we'll put the list on our page.
Yes,
too.
we're going to have it on our page.
And this is not exclusive by any means. It's just it's at the very least, this is what your child should have read. These are
some of the stories your child should have read by the time they're done with kindergarten.
Right, right.
The first one is, and Leslie just alluded to the fact that in fairy tales and stories that we normally have the number 3. The first one is The Three Little Pigs.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So your child should have read the story, and also, too, Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right. Right. And also the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. I used to love that story. Notice how 333. I used to love that story when I was little.
It used to scare me.
It was kind of scary, but
Ooh,
the 3
sad going across my bridge.
Yeah.
I was scared.
Okay, the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. Then there's Momotaro, Peach Boy. Now that one is I believe it's Japanese.
It is Japanese.
A Japanese one. So it's always good to, and we like the fact that this is included because we like the fact that we're looking at cross cultures and across cultures. So with diversity. So Japanese, African, South American fairy tales like this. And you'll find too that there's a commonality there.
Right. There's across cultures. They have the similar stories in every culture.
Right, exactly. Now, as we continue, the Little Red Hen, we talked about that. Chicken Little, because the sky is falling.
The sky is falling.
And how many times have we heard that reference in our society, in our culture, just in the general culture? Oh, so and so is acting this way. She thinks the sky is falling.
Like,
that's a reference.
Yep.
That's a reference to
From
Chicken Little.
Kindergarten story.
That exactly right. We have Little Red Riding Hood. And how often have we seen Little Red Riding Hood references in our culture? Okay.
Also, we have the story of Jumping Mouse. We have the Ugly Duckling.
Yes.
We have the Bremen Town Musicians.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Ugly Duckling, for example.
I know.
You know how she blossomed into a beautiful swan. Okay. You see how we're doing? Like, yeah. Well, that story has such poignancy and it has such application for today.
And even you'll see like very beautiful models, and they'll say, when I was little, I was an ugly duckling.
Yeah.
So that's alluding to, again, stories that we're reading in kindergarten.
By the end of kindergarten, your child should know Cinderella at the ball.
Cinderella, the Prince Charming girl.
Okay. And Tug of War. Okay, the story, the Tug of War. The Wolf and the 7 Little Kids is another one. And King Midas.
King Midas and the Golden Touch.
King Midas and the gold. But everything you touch doesn't turn to gold.
All that glitters is not gold.
Okay. Then there's Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. Now, you all know all the names of the 7 Dwarfs. Just wondering. But how many can we name?
Dopey, Sleepy, Sneezy. Happy.
Doc.
That's 5.
Well, who else is there?
Can't think of it.
That's a good question. Who are the 7?
I know, right?
Okay. What's up with that? And how many spots does a leopard have? Okay, now those are getting into folk tales and how things come to be.
Mm-hmm.
How do things come to be?
Mm-hmm.
For example, from Winnie the Pooh. So and we like this one because sometimes you don't. The whole story doesn't have to be read, or you can just introduce your child to a series. Like Winnie the Pooh. So this one is in which Pooh goes visiting
and gets into a tight place.
Mm-hmm. He does. And then what will happen is your child will want to read more. Next thing you know, you're reading whole series. And so I won't be surprised in a few you're reading the Chronicles of Narnia with your child. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Oh, we love that. We love Aslan. We love him.
I know, Aslan the Lion.
Okay, and then the Velveteen Rabbit, or
How Toys Become Real.
Now think about this. At the end of the kindergarten year, your child has been introduced to fables, to nursery rhymes like Mary, Mary, Quite Contrary, Jack
How Does
Be
Your
Nimble.
Garden Grow?
Exactly. Humpty Dumpty, Mary Had a Little Lamb, and stories. Now think of how that reading foundation is being laid, so that more complex reading can come through. But it all begins at the preschool and kindergarten level.
Yes.
Okay.
Incredibly important.
So we're going to have this checklist. We're going to have the listing of these books on our page, and we're so thankful that you all are being involved in the read aloud.
Yes, it's going really well, and
Okay.
thank you for all the inbox information you all have been sending us. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And continue to read, continue to use the strategies, continue to ask questions with your child, use the extension activities, do I read, we read, you read, just wonderful things like that. And are you noticing how your child's reading, we'll call it a reading reservoir, how it's growing and growing and growing? All through reading, just a natural progression. This is so beautiful.
It's beautiful, and also too, your child. I know sometimes children will say, "Well, reading's boring," but now you're going to start seeing your child just love reading and picking up a book as opposed to maybe watching television.
Yeah,
because the joy of reading starts young, and this is how you're instilling the joy of reading at this age.
Love it. So thank you so much. We will see you Wednesday when we start talking about sayings such as April showers bring May flowers. And we'll start talking about tall tales. Those exaggerated tales. They're also called fish stories. Stop and think about why they're called fish stories. Because every time the story is told, the fish gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? So we will see you on Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday.
Continue to like our page. Thank you so much. Continue to watch us on YouTube. And in October, we have something for you because we're going to start doing videos for each level. For the elementary school level, the middle school,
and high school.
Yep. So we'll be on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night with a video for each grade level. Not each grade level, but each section during that time. So we're excited.
We're excited
Yay!
Because we love learning and we want your children to be the scholars that they were meant to be.
That's right. That's right. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Gracias.
See you Wednesday.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.